Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you everyone for coming in today. We want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. I am so glad that you're here today. My name is DWAYNE, and I am one of the co hosts here at the Extra Scoop podcast. And I want you to meet my co host, Sissy.
Hi guys, Dwayne, real quick, tell us where we can contact you at TikTok.
You can contact me on TikTok at Dwayne Turnsill, and that's very easy and simple.
So hi, I'm Sissy. You can contact me at Sissy11251. Please give us a follow. We also have Extra Scoop podcast on TikTok as well. We're going to be posting different upcoming lives that we're going to be doing, and also live on TikTok. So please give us a follow if you like what you hear. There is no struggle without strength. And today we're going to be talking to two moms that are my heroes. One of our guests today will be joining us shortly. However, we do have Selena here. Thank you for joining us. This is Selena. If you could please let the
Hi.
viewers know how they can contact
Hi
you.
everyone. Hi, my name is Selene and I am Selene underscore 89 in all platforms.
So
And I am my son has autism and he is 8 8 years old.
it, the struggles and the joys are so similar on different highs. You know what I mean? When you go through that. When What is your son's name? Do you mind,
Oh yeah, of course. So his name is Sebastian.
Sebastian? So we call him back. I absolutely adore him. He's the smartest thing. Tell us a little bit about Sebastian, how smart he is, and also some of the struggles that he goes through from whether it's stimming or just
Okay, so
anything he goes
basically
through.
he was he was diagnosed at like 3.5. Typically the age is around 3, where a lot of the stuff starts, like the regression and the diagnosis usually happen around the time.
Mhm.
I was someone that I've always been someone that's like, I want to go ahead first. Like if I see something, and I started noticing small, I worked with children before and I started noticing small things in him that kind of led me to think that there might be a little lapse of something, right? Like lining up objects. There was a lot of little things that he did for his short age, not responding to his name quite well, a lot of different things. So I brought it up instead of him, like his pediatrician suggesting, I brought it up onto her. I said, you know what? I see this, this, and this. And I don't know, I would love to get him evaluated, which is something that usually, she was really glad because she says, usually parents are in denial and a lot of things happened. Like we have a hard time with that. But he was, I just wanted to make sure that I set him up to win. And we went in, we did the evaluation and everything. So he was diagnosed at 3.5. They only did speech at first for him. We only had to do speech to get him through that to see where he was going. So he started at school with speech, and now he doesn't have anything. We did a little bit of therapy, like a little bit of ABA therapy, but not so much. Um, He's level 2, which I work with him at home a lot. So there's 3 levels, right? So level 1, level 2, level 1 is the high functioning, level 2 is in the middle, and level 3 is usually where you'll see like nonverbal or different things like that. Sebastian is in the middle. And I think it's more like the awkwardness. Like his social is more like a social skill, but not necessarily an academic skill, if that makes sense. Um,
Yes.
Now,
so my
when they
anxiety,
evaluated him,
me myself, I had a lot of anxiety when everything happened. I had to just kind of like, oh, this is like a challenge for life. So I kind
Yeah.
of had to like just tell myself, God gave you, He gave me this baby because He knew that I could handle it and I could take care of him. And then I started struggling a lot. I started like having a lot of panic attacks, a lot of different things, and my doctor decided to get for me to get like to see if I got diagnosed or evaluated. I already have ADHD, and panic disorder and anxiety, but she just didn't understand why it was so much. So then she tells me, let's do an analysis. Let's try to get you evaluated because the way things are looking, I think that you probably have that too. So we did an evaluation, and yes, I was diagnosed at 34 years old. I also have
Oh wow.
autism, and I am level 1.
And so with that, there are different levels. So when people speak of autism, we can't lump it into a nice little box. It is called a spectrum for a reason. So after Bash got diagnosed, and I'm sure we sent information to the school, how is the school handling it as far as any paperwork or how they're moving forward with that? Are there any
So for my
things
part,
that they
we
need
did
to
an
do for him?
IEP. Yeah, we did an IEP, and that's where the clause was speech was my biggest thing because he had a hard time understanding, like with autism sometimes kids have a hard time understanding like directions, like 1 2, if you say give me the paper he would understand that, but if you say go underneath this, pick this up, and then you'll find a paper and bring me the paper, like 1 2 3 step directions were very hard for him. So basically the speech was helping with that, right? He had a hard time with who, what, where. All those things were a little bit difficult for him, to say like who's coming. I noticed a lot of repetitive things, like instead of because it's what he associated. So basically, I'm hungry. Instead of saying I'm hungry, he would say, "Are you hungry?" Because he was hungry, but it's what he related to it. Because I would ask him, "Are you hungry?" So then his repetitive behavior was, "Are you hungry?" Because that's him telling me, "I'm hungry, mom," but he can't say it. So it's the echolalia repeating what he knows goes with that certain situation, whether it's thirst, hunger, or anything like that. So it was like, "Are you hungry? Are you hungry?" Or "Are you tired? Do you want to sleep?" So he just basically, whatever situation we were in, that's how he rep like it showed us what he was and everything. So the speech worked really really well with that. We had a little bit of ABA for motor skills, which were like the pencil holding, bike riding. It's motor skills are very difficult. So sports are really difficult. I have tried for him to play football, different sports, but usually team things where you follow, like I said again, the direction, the 1 2 step direction. It's very hard for him. He really can't do it. Most of
Yeah.
the things that he does are more like solo.
Okay.
Y-
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
for the viewers, when she speaks of palelalia and echolalia is when you repeat words. They're both um, responses, but it's when you repeat words. With palelalia, it's usually a specific word that you repetitively speak. And like for instance, instance. You see how they just repeat that one word. And so it depends on the child. It varies. Once again, that proverbial box, you can't put it in. There is a spectrum for sure. Um,
Most definitely.
so
Most definitely.
does, oh, go ahead, Dwayne. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're okay. You're okay. I was going to
Does,
ask to get more into the moment of, because I do get the gist that he's progressing pretty well. Um,
very good. Thank
yeah,
God. Yes.
and what I want to get more into, I spoke with a parent on Instagram. I was talking to her about this very thing. I follow her. Her son is, I think, 15, 16 years old,
Hmm.
and he's in the middle, and he's functioning well and really progressing with his conversation and everything. I think she and I had a conversation about more about her on that moment and how she was dealing with different things, different aspects to the wear and tear, and then also with the caveat that you yourself, at your age, being diagnosed as well. Now
Yeah.
you've gone 30 plus years without a
Ooh,
diagnosis, and
yes.
you've done pretty well. But now that you have the diagnosis, what mentally and physically, how has that affected you as a mom with a blessed child that just happened to be on the spectrum?
I will tell you what, with him, when he got diagnosed, it was a shock. It was very shocking. It was very, very shocking for me. I was afraid, most than anything, right? I think my anxieties kicked in like really high because I knew that someone depended on me, not just as a parent, but forever. Because now I don't know if at certain stage in his life he's ever like if he's gonna leave the home, if he's gonna get married, if he's gonna have his children. So this created this new anxieties that I didn't know I was gonna have. I think I was having panic attacks, like nonstop panic attacks. I was so afraid. I wanted him to be okay. And I think it was the fear of me leaving or me dying, and who's
Yeah,
going to take care of him, who's going to be there for him. So yeah, it takes a toll mentally. Physically is exhausting because they don't sleep good. They're ready to be up. It's like a nonstop moving at so many points. Really, I think no kid is the same. I don't think any, how they say you meet an autistic person, you meet one because they're all different. Everybody in the spectrum is different. And yes, my son is different. I am blessed to know that I have it because I think that it's in a way it's helped me be a better parent because
hmm
now I think back to my childhood and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh my god. This is why I hated that type of clothes. This is why." So it's his sensory. He has horrible sensory issues like the okay, clothes, like nothing can be like so tight. It's always the same. He likes certain colors just like plain, nothing, no prints because it itches and it burns. That's his thing. And I'm like, I remember crying because it burned. And my mom had no clue, right? Because I was verbal and I was extremely smart. So I was practically a genius. And so is my son. So to
yeah,
this thing, yeah, so I think it's made me myself. It's been a good thing. It is a little hard when overstimulation kicks in because I myself get overstimulated. But he's the biggest stimulant because whether it's like the repetitive, and that's me in my head. He gets very obsessive because we have obsessive compulsive. Most people with autism do.
yeah,
Um, so it's like the obsessiveness with a certain subject, a certain thing. He was super obsessed with planets, and then right now we're countries and flags. He knows pretty much. I can't even tell you. He recognizes the globe like it's the palm of his hand. Every single
yeah,
point, like everything. He knows everything. But it's like that coming at me 24/7, asking me what's the capital of this, what's this, what's this, what's this, what's this. And I think that maybe I would have more patience. I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty patient. But yes, it is overstimulating because I myself have the same thing. So it's like, hold on, like you're hitting me with a lot. Maybe we need to take, so I turn off the lights and we both sit and I'm like, put your headphones on, let me relax a little bit because I think that we both need it, just like a little bit. But I could say at the same time, it's also good because just sitting together, we we're good. Like we sit together and we just kind of we know we're spending time together, but we don't have to be engaged, if that makes sense.
yeah,
I think the hardest thing is definitely though acceptance. That is the hardest thing because it's really hard sometimes because whether it's judgment or people coming in or sometimes a family member or it's just all these little things, comments from outsiders, things that people say or they're hurtful sometimes, so it's really hard to accept. I know a lot of moms, denial. I mean, a lot of those things play a big part. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's definitely draining, and it's definitely a toll. Whether
yeah.
you're working or yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people don't really pay attention to, is that it is a blessing. However, it can also be draining. And so, as parents, you have to be in a moment to where you're able to cope, take breaks,
Mhm.
be able to reset, be able to refocus, so you can continue to have the patience and the love and the caring for your kid. And I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. They may see someone that's on a level three that maybe is not responding that well, and they'll take that that's every kid that's on the spectrum, and it's not. Each kid has their own set of challenges and their own set of moments, and so I want you to kind of speak to that degree of what and when did you learn to start resetting yourself and giving yourself that grace and taking a lot of the stigma out of what people in society says this is what it looks like.
So I would tell you, generally, I think I'm still not 100% there, and I don't know if
Yeah,
we will ever be.
yeah,
Because yeah, people, it's just so judgmental. Or seriously, like the biggest thing is, I think one of the things that I hate the most, he doesn't look autistic. Like
yeah,
what? Like when people say that to me, but he doesn't even look autistic. And I don't want to say it's offensive. I know there's ignorance and a lot of people don't know much about it. I understand, but also like, what does it even look like? Like, or just don't make a
yeah.
comment. If so like I said, it could be draining. um a fact is, they did studies in women and moms that are like autism moms, and they say that their brain, they did scans on their brain, and they have like of soldiers. Literally, they have, if you look it up, it's like the scan, like the soldiers, like their brain has the PTSD, the same like markings and trauma as a soldier, like a battle soldier.
Yes,
And I could see it because I think I constantly put myself at fight or flight. Like I'm always like with that guard up because you never know. My son had a hard time running. Like he would run, like he would just take off. So it's like you constantly had to, be prepared, ready for this, ready to do that, ready to do that. Yeah. So I think I'm still like, at times it's still a struggle, still struggle. I would say I would encourage people, like, accepting it is the biggest thing, and it is good to accept, because once you accept it, and it's hard, but once you accept it, you're doing it for your kid more than anyone. You're doing it for them,
yeah,
because if you accept it, then you'll really, really, you're setting them up to win. You're giving them those steps that they need. And like, as for example, with me in my home, I do have family members that have kids with autism as well. But like, for example, in my home, we don't hide it. That's, it is what it is. We're autistic, and that's it. We don't have autism, because you can't have something, and then if you had something, you could take it away. But we can't get rid of this. This is a form of thinking. This is how we were born. And I always tell my kid, just like you're Mexican, you're autistic.
yeah,
Um, so I'm like, we're autistic, and this is just part of who we are, and that's it. There's nothing else. Like, we learn different, we like different things, and we have a few sensitivities to whether it's, sound, or, clothes. Yeah, hey, my son is cheap, because all I got to do is buy him Walmart clothes, and he's happy. So
I know,
I'm
right?
telling you, best thing that could have ever happened to me. Three black shirts, three gray shirts, and he's happy. We're good to go. So I'm good. Let's go to
Yeah,
Walmart and buy some t-shirts, some soft t-shirts. That's what he calls them. Soft
yes,
t-shirts. So, but yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely the acceptance part. They're really fun though. He makes me so happy. I genuinely think that they make us so happy, just like when he stims, right? So like I say to anyone that in family, he's getting better. He doesn't When he started, when he was a kid, he used to do this, right?
yeah,
And then this. Right now we're at like sometimes this, or he does this a lot. I gotta have hair color on my hands. Like this, like where he goes like
yeah,
this when he's super excited. And I always tell like family members and everything, I'm like, if he's stimming in front of you, he's comfortable. He's
yeah,
at his best. When he stims and he doesn't care who's watching, and it's not, you know, he is happy. So I always say, I'm like, you know, when he's like flags or anything that he's interested in, his the light in his eyes, like he smiles with his eyes and he is so happy at that time. And I'm like, no one could make him happier. Um, so I think that, you know, uh that he just makes me so happy. Like it's just a big joy. Sissy said that she's on stage, but she doesn't see anyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
See,
her back into that moment. She's saying that she's coming in and out, but she doesn't come. It just shows she's off the line. Is what this shows here.
mm-hmm,
But we're trying to get her back in. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things that people have to kind of understand in this moment with our kids that are on the spectrum, that there is a moment of acceptance that has to happen. Just like anything in life, we have to accept certain things in order to get through it,
mm-hmm,
and acknowledge that it's there, and then we can actually start navigating our way through it. And I think
exactly.
that's a very important thing, especially when the kid is one of the kids are stimming. We have to understand what that's for and what that the
Mm-hmm,
reason is, so we don't mistake it bad behavior or this or that. We can
exactly.
work through the challenge.
So stimming basically is just like releasing energy. We have so much energy that goes through our bodies. So stimming is when we do the repetitive movement. And it could be anything, like you see me, you probably saw me, like I keep grabbing my hair. I think that's a
Yeah,
way of me stimming, like cuz it's like the nervous, but it's like we have so much energy that it has to like release and it has to leave our body somehow. So you see a lot
correct.
of kids, they either rock back and forth. You would see kids, like this fidgeting, all those things, those are all called stimming. All those things are forms of stimming. It could be lip biting. You see sometimes they do that. um it's just so many. Like I had my little cousin, he would do this, like this, like
Yeah,
his head. But it's just because there's so much, especially when they're younger, there's so much energy in their small little bodies, and it needs to go somewhere. It needs to be released. So that is the
correct.
way that they release it. In my son's IEP, I have we wrote out like a little portion where after lunch, because usually he's very, very energetic. After lunch, after recess, he comes in. If it's really bad, he's allowed to go because he does general ed. I don't have any special education for him, nothing. But if he is super, super, like overstimulated, he can't calm down. Me and his teacher agreed that he would go to the special room. And basically he goes in there to release his energy for 10
Yeah,
minutes. Just give him
yeah,
10 minutes to like release his energy a little bit so he can like, and they have like swings and they have like different little things where they could twirl and do little things just to like release, calm down, and come back. And that's what we do at home too. And when you ask me
yeah,
like how do you know to separate it, that's how we do it. Like if he's having a hard, where he has a hard time, and I'm not gonna lie, the iPads. I know it's hard. A lot of people say screen time. This, whether it's good or not. With a kid that's on a spectrum, sometimes
yeah,
that's your savior because
yeah,
it does calm them down. It brings them into that, okay, something they like, something they're focused in, and you can use it as a positive thing. You don't necessarily have to. Obviously, it's good to monitor screen time for all of us, not just our kids, us too, with our cell phones. But
yeah,
yeah, I think it calms them down a little bit. It keeps them more like situated, and eh, the headphones help. For me, I kind of just take a little step back, and I do tell him he's a little bit older now. It was a lot harder when he was young. Now that he's older, I'm like, okay, I need some time because just how you get overstimulated, so am I. I'm like, can you go to your room and like
that's correct.
just take a little break? Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Ashley, how are you doing today? We're doing pretty good. I want to welcome Ashley to the room. Ashley, can you say hi to everyone? Yeah. Ashley, too, is here today to share with us her journey as well. And we would like to take a moment to just let Ashley introduce herself, introduce her journey with her baby as well, and kind of give us a little bit of a brief synopsis of exactly what a day in your life looks like in your journey.
Hi. Okay. So I actually have 8 kids. And so the 6 younger ones live at home. The other ones are grown and gone. And so my kids are on different, you know, uh, s- s- parts on the spectrum. Each one has their different, their differences. A day in my life, we pretty much get up early in the morning. We take care of our chickens because we have a small chicken farm. They will help out with that. We do chores, we learn things because they do homeschool. Um, and so that's pretty much a day in my life.
Most definitely. We were just talking about just a moment ago of I guess the reality of dealing with kids on the spectrum, and also some of the misnomers of being a parent with someone on the spectrum, and what it feels like and looks like to the parent themselves during that moment, the ups, the downs, the in betweens, learning to cope with that moment, and as um, our sister up there above you stated earlier, she was stating, well, beside you, she stated earlier that um, she had to accept what was actually in front of her so she can learn to navigate through everything that's there in her reality even now. And so I wanted
Right.
to get your take on that moment because you have a broad array of that moment of navigating and having to accept each time on that moment and then navigating through it, but still being I guess accepting and ready and aware of those before that moment because each child is still different. Could you speak to that just a little bit?
Yes. So for me, I feel like during challenging moments, like, and their meltdowns, because meltdowns happen sometimes. Basically, we would just learn how to keep calm. Like, a lot of the time, there's so much of a need to rush and, like, force them to hurry up and quit crying, that they don't actually get the moment to process their emotions. So learning how to help them process, name and process what emotions they're feeling and what they're going through, you know?
Yes, yes. And Sissy was here. Somehow I know I was having trouble hearing her mic sometimes, but I think she just dropped off and she's trying to get back in the room. We're just trying to get her back in here. She's trying. But I also want to ask again, just kind of on that moment of the parents, because I was speaking to a couple of parents myself today and yesterday on Instagram that have kids on the spectrum, and their kids are a lot older. They're teenagers. One just became grown as well. And then I talked to another lady. Her kid is young, so they're in different stages of the moment. I think her daughter was 6, and so. I began to ask and talk to them a lot more about themselves because I think we hear and we see a lot of the things with the kids of when they have episodes, when they have different things, people have misnomers about um, each child when you say they're on the spectrum, and they think that it's always going to be extreme, but it's not always that case. And so I wanted to kind of identify with the parents so people can see what that struggle looks like, but not also just a struggle, but what that reward looks like when the parents are attentive and have accepted and also navigate through those hard times as well as those good times. Um, in that synopsis, what do you feel has been one of your greatest challenges, and then what has been one of your greatest rewards during this time? And that's a question for both of you. So, Ashley, if you can go first and answer those two
Sure.
questions.
Yeah, I also have some teenage kids as well. So for those older kids that sometimes just they don't understand the way of what we're trying to get them to see, or learn what we're trying to get them to learn. They can get kind of stuck in their own thought process of everything, and that can be a difficult moment to like navigate. Um, Having patience and trying to just remember that you're there to guide them, you know, to make the better choices. The reward in the end of it is that eventually they do see your point of view, and
Yeah,
when they do, it brings you closer, and it helps nourish that relationship a lot better. Fosters a good relationship.
most definitely.
Yeah, and I agree with Ashley. Like, kind of like bouncing back from that, it's really hard. And then, sometimes because they're so focused on one thing, like my son is obsessed with certain thing. When I go to maybe like teach him on this, and this other subjects that he's not interested in, he completely disregards. And it's like you just kind of have to have the patience and be repetitive, just like how he's repetitive. Be repetitive. Same with at school, for example, there's things that he doesn't really care to learn or know. So what I do is like I know that he likes to watch videos on it. So then I put in it's just a lot of time. You got to put in a lot of time. It's very consuming as a mother. So it's hard. You just have to go in and just put in a lot of time. And, if you have someone like a partner and your husband or partner or, that's there with you and supportive, obviously it helps. Obviously, that's not the case for a lot of people. But it's definitely, it takes a village. And, the hardest part is that I've noticed that like they say, it takes a village, but once they see a kid on the spectrum, sometimes people don't want to deal with it anymore. So then it
Yeah,
sometimes you kind of find yourself being lonely, if that makes sense. But it's
yeah,
definitely, I feel like it's twice as rewarding to, yeah, like what she's so rewarding. Like when you see them that, I taught them this, and this, and then they're finally putting on that shirt by themselves. And it's like, oh my god, they had such a hard time, but now he
yeah,
can do this. Or like, I see him, oh, eating was so hard, eating by himself with the spoon, the fork, that was such a hard thing to do. um it was like but you know what, I learned to accept it, and I said, it's okay, use your hand. You know what, I'm not gonna worry about it. I don't care what anyone says. We're doing this, whatever accommodates you and what's gonna make you happy, this is how we're gonna do it. And
yes.
I can't imagine, Ashley, you have are all your kids on the spectrum?
Most, yeah, yeah, all of them.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't even imagine. And see, that I would say is one of those things that for me, I was so scared. I just have Sebastian, and when people tell me you don't want to have any more kids or any of those things, I always said, you know what, I'm really scared because statistics show that like if you have one kid, the next one most
Hmm.
likely will be on the spectrum as well. So I think in
Yeah.
a way it scared me. And that's why I haven't, I haven't um and at times I'm like, am I like jiffing myself from like not getting having another kid cuz I kind of like a girl, but it's so scary. It's so scary. And it's just like I mean, you want to do it, but it's scary. It's definitely scary. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a frightful thing for the future.
And speaking to
Yeah.
that, I think a lot of people don't think of that fear in the parents because they think just like if you have a kid without the spectrum, sometimes just the pure weight of raising another human being can be overwhelming for a lot of people. But
Mhm.
then you add on the layers of having a kid on the spectrum, and in Ashley's point, having several kids on the spectrum, and now you have to navigate all of those emotions of just being mom or being dad or just being present and just dealing with the normal things. But now I have to pay attention to the small things because my kid is affected a little bit different from the next child with the normal things. And so I think fear is a big thing that I heard a lot of from the people I spoke of, and I think they navigate those fears a little bit different. And I'm glad that you spoke of it out openly like that, because that was going to be my next question, is about the fears of not only your kid being diagnosed on the spectrum, but also the fear of now having to navigate through that time in life of getting them to the moment. And even once you've had that success of navigating them through their childhood, now the next navigation of actually helping them navigate through adulthood. those fears. And I want you guys to speak a little bit from that. Basically, Ashley, we'll start with you again. What are some of those things that you have those fears of? And then also, um, what are some of the things that you would recommend to other parents who have kids on the spectrum? And then also for those that don't, that can use some of the tools and things that you've learned with your kids also.
So for me, I feel like definitely enlisting in community support. Um, I don't really have family and friends, so I've had to like make my own support system. And looking locally, friends that have children that are also on the spectrum has helped me greatly. Like that's how I've really made it through. Because parents that don't get it, they don't get it. They don't understand. There's no explaining it to them because they can't wrap their minds around it, they're not living that life every day. Um, there are a lot of different really good, community resources where I'm at. I can't speak to other people because I don't know, but each person, like, they'll choose a different pathway, um, and that's, what works for one family isn't gonna work for another. I feel like that's the most important thing to note. Like, there is no one size fits all solution for coping and learning how to navigate parenthood and, child rearing. There's just no one way fits all. So definitely look within your community. Don't be afraid to reach out in mom groups. They might have some good recommendations. Midwives, pediatricians, those would also have good recommendations of places to go in different avenues.
Yeah,
So
even
looking there
even
would
like
be helpful.
Facebook, like how you say the little groups, there's like small
Mhm.
groups. TikTok, I
Yes.
mean, there's groups and you can find other people, and as different as the kid might be, there's so many similarities and we're all in this struggle together. You
Most
never
definitely.
know. You never know. Anybody who wants to reach out to me, I'm always here. You never know what you can little things that you can take from one parent or the other. For example, like I know that there's a big like misconception with like whether like, nonverbal is worse than a verbal one or this or that. Regardless of anything, we all go through the struggle.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
it is very frightful. I see so many parents. I've spoke to a lot of parents too that have told me like, I don't even know their voice. I don't know what, and I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine like not knowing what my kid would speak or how he would sound or different things. I'm 100% sure that their struggles are way different than mine. Um but we're all in this thing together. Like we regardless the trauma, it's very comparable. It's very the same. Like we it's hard. It's definitely hard. Um
Most definitely.
the everyday like you asked, like adulthood, making sure that they're independent, that they get to a point in their life where they're independent and they're able to do things on their own, as in like work and maybe have a wife or a family, or those little things that are yeah, I'm afraid because I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to be 70 years old and he's going to live, if I'm going to be there to see it, or if he's going to be in his 40s and still living with me, and which I don't have a problem with, because I know that this is what was given to me, and that I just have to do this. I don't have a choice. This is what it is, and that's how it's gonna be. So, yeah, those are huge fears, and especially independence, but also like my son, for example, he's starting counseling, and we're doing this counseling thing where just explaining the sarcasm, because sarcasm or little things that sometimes kids are really mean,
Yes.
and they don't want to play with him because he doesn't understand a certain concept or a certain thing, or he gets obsessive, or he does this. So we're doing a little bit of counseling right now through university. So a lot of universities help too. If you need, like, you could always reach out, put it on the Google search. I mean, the good old Google, but it works. You put on some stuff. There's a lot of community help. You can ask the pediatrician, and that's how we found out that the university does it by me. And they talked about, they're doing the counseling. They tell him like, how do you think, like, they give him a scenario. For example, they said this and this. What do you think that is? Do you think that they mean this? Like, do they want to play with you, or are they just like laughing? Because for example, I had an incident with my son where this kid was like, "Oh, you're my butler. Like, you're my friend, but you're my butler." So basically, Sebastian would walk around, just do anything he wanted. The kid would throw something or whatever, and Sebastian thought he was being included. He was the
Yeah.
butler. So then he was basically just cleaning up after this kid, doing everything for this kid, and like, whatever. And he didn't mind doing it because he was being included. But it's so
Yeah.
sad that he doesn't see the malice behind it. Like, someone, the other kid knows. He knows that he's like literally just having him be his, maid, just doing everything for him. So my son
Yes.
was just doing it happily because he was just happy to be included because it was something different.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, but it is hard. It's a fear of like every day you don't know, because he's verbal. They call him. He would say, "Mom," they say I'm the half autism kid. Which is
Wow.
also, I don't know if I should take that as a good thing. So there's a lot of struggles, a lot of fears, of them not defending themselves, of not understanding that they're even being picked on.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really hard every day, and I think just presence and consistency and just a lot of patience.
Most definitely. And I think that's the thing as well, that people don't look at that aspect of it, is that kids on the spectrum sometimes they're not aware that someone is bullying them. For
Mhm.
that same example, they're looking at it just being inclusive, or someone is
Yeah.
including them, someone wants to play with them. So they accept that attention, and all along they are being bullied, and other kids see it and other kids know it, but it also puts them at a fear as well. And so I think it's something that we as a whole, as a community as a whole, we have to be aware. And if we know that a kid is on the spectrum, then we have to kind of watch out in the community for each one of those kids, because they don't know. They're not built to acknowledge that someone is being evil toward them, because they don't see it that way. They just see it that, hey, they're friendly. I want to be friends with them too, and they don't
Mhm.
see the vitriol until it's actually
Exactly.
acknowledged to them later. And at that time, it's a little bit hurtful, because they're going to take it a whole lot harder than we would, knowing that this person is bullying us today, and we notified it
Mhm.
today. We'll look at it a little bit different, and I think we have to really be aware of that. I think I'm happy you brought that up. Ashley, have you also experienced or had some experiences with that as well?
My kids have not gone to public school. When we interact with other children, it's either at a co-op or at a playground, or one-on-one, like groups at home with friends. But the thing is that my kids really haven't had to go through that. I was somebody who grew up being bullied, so I'm overprotective with my kids whenever it comes to them because of that.
Most definitely.
I went through heavy bullying growing up. It was really bad. I did not fit in with most kids, so it was rough.
Yes. And that's why
Yeah,
we have to look out in the community,
mhm. It's hard
because
to understand sarcasm. Like, when
it
I
is
mean, myself, I am diagnosed. I don't know, Ashley, are you if your doctor ever suggested you getting diagnosed yourself or anything like that? Like, if see if you get evaluated or anything?
I have autism and ADHD. Yes.
Me too.
okay.
That is
Yeah, I was going to ask you
exactly, yes.
that. Yeah,
So typically, like, I think it goes hand in hand, and the anxieties, usually it's like anxiety and everything all together. So yeah, same here. I think sarcasm is really hard. It's really hard, and sometimes it's really hard knowing like whether somebody means well or not. And just for a regular person, right? So somebody whose brain is process a little different, and our brain is a little, wired a little bit different. And that's what I tell my son. I'm like, your brain's wired a little bit different. I'm like, but it's a beautiful brain, and it's still big, and it's so smart, and so he
Mhm.
understands. And I I am there too. I'm like Ashley. Like I have this back and forth whether I want to keep him home and homeschool him. We've talked about it so much, and like, are we gonna homeschool him? Are we gonna do this? And I keep
Yeah.
going back and forth, and it's because I do want that socialization because he doesn't have other kids at home, right? So I don't have any other kids, so I'm like, that will do him good. The socialization would be good for him and at school, but at the same time I'm like always like worried and I want to be overprotective because of that, those other things. So
Most definitely.
Right.
Most definitely. And so we definitely have to make sure that we're being aware in the community, for our families that have kids on the spectrum. We just have to be more aware. Take the time to Google, talk to our doctors. It's a lot of information out there about it. Even if we're not struggling or have kids in our families that have to navigate life on the spectrum, we all need to be aware because we help shape the world that they see. And the sarcasm, the bullying, all those different things, or just having the freedom to just be and get some of
yeah,
that pressure off sometimes, or be able to play a little bit extra, and someone at Walmart not being offended because that kid need to run up and down the aisle just a little bit. And so we all have to be aware, and if we all in the community become aware, then I think it'll be a better moment for each kid that's dealing with the moment on the spectrum, and also for the parents that have to deal with it every day as well. I want you guys, as we get ready to close, I want you guys to give us pretty much a moment of awareness that you need to just feel that this is one thing I think that the community as a whole and the world need to know, that this is what autism looks like. And then also let everybody know how they can contact you guys on your social media.
okay. I'll let Ash. Do you want to go first, Ashley, or you want me to go first?
Sure, sure. Um, okay, so within the community, please remember that all forms of autism look different. And that just because one child has one, way of processing things doesn't mean they all do. Be considerate. They are human beings. They're going to carry the things that you say with them throughout their life. Like their inner critic is going to remember that. A lot of these kids are also dealing with rejection sensitivity, dysphoria. You need to keep that in mind as well because it causes physical and bodily pain to them. So, being more empathetic and more considerate of the children around you, maybe remember you were also once young and rambunctious kids. We all weren't perfect angels. So,
Yes.
I think that's important to remember because I see a lot of older people get snippy with kids that have autism, and I have even corrected them like, hold up, they're communicating something. Let's listen and find out what that is. I feel like that's an important thing. Again, if you want to ever reach out, Selene or I are happy to answer any questions that any parents have. We're happy to be here. Even if you just want to vent or have someone to share some camaraderie, have some understanding without the judgment, we're happy to reach out to you. For me, on TikTok as Nerdy Hippie Mom. I'm also on Instagram. Um, don't have a Facebook yet, but I'll be getting one soon. Um, but if you'd like to reach out to me, you can do that there. We pretty much have real life lives every night where we talk about everyday stuff, parenting, you name it. That's how you can best reach me. And again, community resources. If anybody has any questions about like the Central Texas area, I'm extremely knowledgeable because I've helped parents for the past decade and a half here. So I have a lot of resources to share with anybody that needs those resources in the Central Texas area specifically. Okay, Selena, you take it away.
Definitely.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna double back on that, like where she says, like, I just it looks different in every form. There's very many different kids, and not because it's all different means that one has it more than the other. It really is hard, and like that whole, like I commented on it before, like he doesn't even look autistic. Like sometimes those comments are very hurtful. So, and it could take different moms would feel different way. I guess what I would want people to take away from this would be like, just kind of like have patience on the kid, but also have patience on the moms because we're struggling here. You
That
see
part.
us, like, have some grace, like you see us like carrying this like load, and it's a lot. It's really a lot. Sometimes we don't sleep. Sometimes, we're like on 2 hours and super caffeinated because, we're running around like a chicken without a head, try to make sure this is done, because a lot of them can't do it themselves. So we're working for two humans, so just give us a little bit more grace, a little bit more, we have all these fears, all these anxieties, all these things, and sometimes that's why we're not too sociable like everybody else is, because we are too struggling. And just like you see, me and Ashley, we both were diagnosed. So possibly if your kid has it, you might be the parent that gave it to them, or the dad, or so sometimes just a little bit more grace from people. That's what I would say. And just smile. Nothing costs anything to smile at them. We're not different. We're not like, just because you see someone stimming, he's not like, there's nothing wrong. He's just letting out his like energy. Is just a happy dance, like I call it. Just, you can smile. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be anything bad. We're the same. It's still the same. And yeah, that's it. Like, just give us a little bit of grace. We're just trying to get our kids there and make them successful. That's it. A little bit
Most
harder,
definitely.
but that's what we're doing.
Most
And you can
definitely.
find me. I'm pretty much, my name is Selene, SELENE_89 in all platforms.
All right. We definitely thank you, ladies, for coming out today, Ashley and Selena. We definitely appreciate everything that you had
Thank
to give
you.
to this podcast today. We want to thank Queen Angela with the Crew podcast for allowing us to be on this platform today. We want to thank Sissy, my co-host. She has some technical difficulties, but she's not here right now. But I definitely know that she's here in spirit right now with us. You guys can reach us at any time on our platforms on TikTok. I know it's Sissy. It's at Sissy11251. You can reach her there. You can reach me as well at Dwayne Turn Silk on TikTok. And we also have a TikTok for our podcast. That also is Extra Scoop Podcast. You can reach us on there. At Dwayne Turn Silk is my platforms on Instagram, on X. You can reach me there. Also on YouTube as well. I want to thank everyone again just for coming out, and we're definitely going to do this again because there's a lot of information to talk about in this moment. The bullying aspect, the just caring about others aspect, and so we'll have to get with Sissy and probably revisit this another time. But I want to thank you guys for coming
Definitely,
out
yes.
today, and I really appreciate your time. And
Thank you
with
for
that,
having
we want to
us.
most
Thank
definitely
you.
we want to thank everyone out there in the space that's listening. Thank you for enjoying this podcast today and showing up. And this again is Extra Scoop podcast, where we're
Thank
anything but bite size. Have a good evening. Take
Thank you.
care.
You too. Bye,
You're
everyone.
welcome. Uh-huh.